Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to my sewing room. This is Sew Be It. Today, I'm making a vintage reproduction McCall's pattern. It's McCall's M8430. It's a little bit different from what I usually make because it is a nightgown. I will be making the short version here of the nightgown. This will be one of two. We had to see one. One of two nightgowns, the same thing, made out of two different fabrics because I am making these for my daughter. She asked for some nightgowns from mom. So there are quite a few different fabrics. A lot of it's cotton. Since it's vintage, there is a lot less available fabrics listed on the envelope. Also, this package comes in three sizes: extra small, small, and medium. And then the next one up, I think, is medium, large, and extra large. I'm not positive, but I needed this one for my daughter's size. So I'm making this out of a super soft, I think is what it's called. I guess I actually don't know. One of the super soft flannels from JoAnn's Fabrics. And my daughter picked out. It is a Christmas teddy bear fabric. Unfortunately, I didn't pay too close attention to the fabric widths when I was checking the envelope for how much fabric that I needed. I got enough fabric for a 60-inch wide piece. I got enough yardage for a 60-inch wide piece of fabric, but this flannel is only the 45. So I didn't have enough and I needed an extra yard of flannel. However, I didn't want to go all the way to JoAnn's, but our Walmart still has some pre-cut flannel pieces. So the ruffle on the nightgown, and I am, as you can see, this is sleeveless. I have also drafted a short, should be a little bit of a flutter sleeve for this because my daughter said she wanted some short sleeves added to it. So I have that all made up and cut out in a red flannel. So that will be the difference on this. It calls for obviously all the same fabric, but since I ran out, that's how it is. Let's go ahead and get started sewing. As it seems to be for most of the vintage patterns, even things like nightgowns have very structured pieces or parts or elements. And that is the case for this one as well. So both of my bodice pieces have a dart there at the bottom. This is the front piece, right? Yeah, this is the front piece. It's got that dart on the bottom. And then this back piece has a dart there, and it also has 3 buttons. I will go ahead and sew these darts as I have many times and showed you. And then the next step would be to iron the darts towards the center of the bodice. Then after that, there is interfacing over those buttonholes to help hold it. I have iron-on interfacing, even though this pattern does call for the old just stitch-in interfacing. I'm not the biggest fan, and I think this will work just as well since it's a nightgown. I'm not too worried about it, so I'm going to use my iron-on interfacing. So when I press my darts to the center, I will also put the interfacing on. The directions say to place it and pin it and then trim it because this piece must not fit exactly for the buttonholes. So that's what I will do, and then I'll be back to show you. Okay, I have the darts. This is the front of the bodice of the darts on both pieces here. It is pinned together at the center seam because now the next step is to stitch the center seam between the dots. You can barely see it, but I have the dots here in my blue tailor's chalk. And then here's the back bodice and the interfacing on that one, and the same with this one. So I have to stitch that center seam, and then I have to stitch the bodice front and back together at the shoulders and the side seams. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back. The next step is the skirt. We have to start with the front. So I've actually never made a skirt that looks like this because of how the bodice like goes up in the center. The bodice goes up in the center, and so does the ruffle. Well, the skirt has to too, to cover that spot. So this is actually what the skirt itself, ouch, the front of the skirt itself looks like. And then of course it's long. So the first step is to stitch the center front seam, which is this one here where it's high at, this one here. And then the center back seam from the bottom up to this, the dot on the back, which I'm actually not sure what that dot is for. There's a casing in this, so maybe it's that. So that's what I have to do. I have to do the center front up that front seam, the center back up to the dot, and then the front to the back at the side seams. So I'll stitch that. So I have already showed you the bodice. It is now sewn together, obviously inside out. That's the front. And all of my seams are pressed on that. And then I also did the skirt. This is the front side of it. Here we go. You can't see a whole heck of a lot. Okay. Those wrinkles just will not come out. I just tried ironing them again. And those seams are pressed. So those two pieces are all done. And I'm going to set them aside for right now, for the next step. Next couple steps, actually. So on my directions, the next step is to prepare the ruffle. So I have to do a narrow rolled hem on the edge of the ruffle, outside edge of the ruffle. So I will I will probably do a straight stitch, press that under to help me guide that, since it's a complete circle. And then I have, I will press that over and then zigzag that so that it's finished. I will also do that to the edges of the sleeves that I'm adding to this. After that, after I finish the edge hem, then I have to do the gathering stitches to the inside of the ruffle. So I have two pieces. This is the ruffle here. I have two pieces. It's a complete circle. So I have to hem the outside and then do 2 rows of gathering stitches to the inside. And then pin the ruffle section to the skirt with the right side up. So the wrong side will be touching the right side of the skirt. Match the notches, the center fronts and the circles to the side seams, and then lapping the right ruffle over the left ruffle at the center front. So the curved edge of the ruffle, the curved side here is the center front, and so it'll do something like this, and then it'll be just long enough to cross over in the front. And then I will baste that ruffle on. I will also, at the same time, gather up the shoulder, the cap part of the sleeve to help me set that into this as well. I think I'm going to gather it instead of pleating. Not positive yet, actually. I might come back to show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the ruffle and do the finishing of the sleeves, and I'll be back. I had to redo the sleeves because they were too small, and they were too small. I had to ease the nightgown into the sleeve, and I didn't like that. It fit okay when she tried it on, but I didn't like it. So I redid the sleeves because when she tried it on, she also wanted it shorter. So I cut 9 inches off the bottom, and then I split and spread the sleeve that I had made, and I made new sleeves out of the bottom of the nightgown fabric. So they are teddy bears, which is really fun. And then I had enough to go ahead and pleat the top of both sleeves. So now there is supposed to be a casing under the bust right here and above the ruffle. It says to make it out of like bias of the fabric, but I didn't. I went ahead and bought bias tape. So I am going to stitch that casing underneath the ruffle. There's a specific way to do it. Let me see. It's supposed to be single fold bias tape. I got double fold bias tape, but that's okay. I'm gonna make it work. And then it's already pressed, so I don't have to press any of it. To form the casing, pin each length of the bias tape to the bodice, right sides up, having a lower edge of bias tape along seam and pressed under edge along lines indicated on pattern. Stitch close to the long edges of the bias tape. So I just have to stitch, like top stitch on the bias tape onto the nightgown. Both sides, and then cut 2 more strips of the bias tape for the drawstring. And since it's double fold, I will just stitch it down and closed. I don't think I'm gonna fold it any smaller. I'm just gonna stitch it down and closed probably. I might actually fold it in half. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. All right. So then once I do the drawstring, I have to insert the drawstring into the casing, put the back edges even, and then baste along the back edges to hold the drawstring in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. Okay, so the casing and tie are finished. So my next step is the neck facing and the back facing. There's the back, so that's just going to go all the way up. The back seam, the top will lap over the neck facing because I have to do the neck facing first. But this one I sew from the bottom edge to the dot, and then I have to finish the edges and then attach it to the back. These are both the neck facing, so I have to sew these together at the shoulder seams, I think. Yes, at the shoulder seams, and then press those seams open and attach that to the neckline. Nope. Sew them together, press the seam, and then finish the edges, and then attach it to the neckline. Let me double check my directions before I let you. What else? And then to finish those, once they're attached, it says to top stitch. Keep the ruffle out of the top stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. Thank you for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Overall, this nightgown is one of the easiest things I think I've made. It's a lot of steps, but it ends up being quite easy, and it's a really nice nightgown in the end. Unfortunately, you don't get the footage of seeing it on somebody, just to protect my daughter's privacy in her nightgown, so sorry about that, but that's okay. We got some nice footage of it hanging up in my sewing room and the classroom. So I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any, and hit that notification bell so you actually get notified when I do post, because unfortunately my posts have not been on the best schedule, but I really do appreciate you watching. Thank you.